Thank you for your attention. This is the Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind podcast with Corey Shapiro. We're doing our ebook special. We're up to chapter 3. Focus on what you can control. This is 5 tips for turning hot emotions into cool, clear strategy. Tip number 1 is to prepare for the long war. We want an expedited divorce. We want things over quickly, but that means we're needy. Instead, we roll up our sleeves. We do the work necessary early on. We are prepared. We get the documents order. We create a frame. We become persuasive. That's preparing for a long war. We're not spending all of our time settling if it's going nowhere. There's other ways to move things forward. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, resist the external pressure to act on the spur of the moment. For listeners, they know I like chess. I've been doing this blitz chess, 2-minute chess. It's quick, it's easy, it's fun. I don't really have to think. That's why I'm not that good. But divorce is not blitz chess. It's the grandmaster chess in tournaments where I believe they play 15-minute rounds. Deep thinking. That's what we're looking for, deep thinking in our divorce. So we're not acting spur of the moment. We're not being reactive. We're not doing texting. We're waiting. We're pausing. We're giving us space. All right. Tip number 3, be hopeful. Even when you don't feel confident. This is so key. So key. Why? Because we're trying to emanate what we want. We're creating what we want. Think and grow rich. A master example of this is Trump, right? Trump wanted the election for the first time. Hillary was a more experienced candidate. He was hopeful. New York Times did everything they can to put roadblocks in his way. And you know what happened? Even though they said Hillary won in that newspaper, they published it. The truth is Trump won. You never know what's going to happen. There might be bad interim orders against you, so be hopeful. Tip number 4, resolve not to escalate. This is a key one. Pretend the judge is on your shoulder. The judge is on your shoulder. What does that mean? We're not going to send inappropriate text, emails. We're not going to be passive aggressive. We're not going to be snarky. What we are doing is communicating civilly, like any co-parent, only about the children if that's our issue. And if we don't have children, maybe we're not communicating at all. What we're trying to do is not do anything that's going to prejudice the judge against us, right? The judge is just a human. They're biased. If they like us 1% more than the other side, they might help us. Why do they like us 1% more? Because we behaved during the litigation and the other side act out. Tip number 5, do nothing. Hey, we're only human. We're going to get flooded. We're going to want to explode. And in those moments, we're going to remember, though it may be justified, it's not productive. So do nothing. Go to the balcony. Take a break. Believe in those waves. This is like a waves of the ocean. And there's going to be rough times and not so rough times. And you just need sometimes to recharge, regroup. And that's tip number 5. All right, moving on to the quote. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's Henry Ford. It's all about perception. Divorce news is juicy this week. I saw this decision. It's a 36-page decision in Maryland. I believe in Chevy Chase, Maryland. There was a couple that were married, and I believe the husband cheated. So instead of getting a divorce, they entered into a post-nuptial agreement. A post-nuptial agreement is like a prenup where you're sort of setting your financial arrangements, but you do it after you get married. Sometimes an event happens like adultery or just a clarification on maybe you came into some money, some business, what have you. You still want to get married, still want to stay married. You're in love. You don't want to get divorced. You enter into a postnup. And one of these fancy clauses, we're going to call it an adultery compensation provision. Okay, an adultery compensation provision. Now, the guy hired a good lawyer because why did he hire a good lawyer? Well, you guessed it. After he signed the prenup, giving it a second chance, he cheated. And he doesn't want to pay the money. What was the amount? $7 million. He had to pay $7 million if he cheated. So these are the arguments, or some of the arguments at least he made to the court. And let's just see his first argument. Well, he told the court, there's no consideration here, Judge. I have to give all this money. What does she have to do for me? And that's a good argument. In an agreement, there has to be consideration. What did she do? What did she give up? And the answer is, well, the judge says very simple. She stayed married to you. She stayed married to you. She didn't have to, so she gave up getting divorced. All right, so get that claim out of here. Next. How about this, Judge? I was under duress. And the judge's like, what does that even mean? You had an attorney. That argument makes no sense. Move on. He says, okay. It's unconscionable, Judge. And this argument I thought made sense to me. He says, I agreed to pay $7 million, but I only had $5 million. How would I do that? And I guess the judge got some information from the other side. Judge found out he had an inheritance, $12 million. Judge says you took that risk. So although it seems strange, you were expected to get all this extra money, so you'll be fine. That's not going to work either. His last argument that I will discuss is, hey, this is a penalty clause. This is against public policy enforcing these penalty provisions in contract. And he says, well, these prohibitions against penalties that coerce behavior in contracts does not apply, the judge says, to the same rigidity as in postnuptial agreements. It may apply in prenuptial agreements, but not in postnuptial agreements. Postnuptial agreements, by their very nature, are penalizing. That's what they're all about. So, no, the judge says, you're out. You have to pay the money, and too bad, husband. All right, moving on to divorce question. Who gets the engagement ring? Who gets the engagement ring? In traditional relationships, a man proposes, the ring's expensive. What happens? Well, let's break up these cases. Let's say the marriage never happened. The marriage never happened. The engagement was called off. All right, it depends on your state, but some states follow the broken engagement rule, which means that the person who broke it off has to give the ring back, right? So that means in a traditional relationship, if you have the guy giving the ring, he calls it off, she gets to keep it. If she calls it off, then he would get the return. Some states don't care necessarily about that rule, and they want to look into the context. Why was there a broken engagement? All right, and the third one, I think there's a state or maybe a few states that don't even care. They're like, this is a gift. This is absolute. We're not going to get involved. Good luck. Move on. Get out of my courthouse. And then let's talk about the cases, what happens when they get married. So this is now they get married. So you can't have that broken engagement rule. What happens? Well, in most states, marital property is defined as anything that's acquired from the date of marriage to the date of commencement of the divorce action. So if this was acquired before the marriage, it's not marital property. Many states call this separate property, so you are out of luck. What's the right thing to do? As if my personal opinion matters. Clients sometimes ask me, and I might have different personal views. But here's what I would say. If you're in a more cooperative situation, if it's a family heirloom, it has some sentimental value, then obviously you return it. On the other hand, if we're just trading money, then maybe it's something to think about, and I would take more of a context approach. All right, announcements. You can send your question. If you have a question for the podcast, at question.gettingdivorced.org. You can ask your question in the browser. You can also send us email at feedback@gettingdivorced.org. All right, positive perspective. This is marathon weekend here in New York City. And my positive perspective is 1 mile at a time. 1 mile at a time. I downloaded the marathon app. They say you're a runner or a spectator. Thankfully, I said I'm a spectator. I am checking out a couple people tomorrow who are running. Very exciting time, especially for first-time marathoners. And they have different viewing points on each mile of the race. And most people who have done it only once are reaching out to everyone, telling them they're running. They want that support. They want their friends, their family to help them on. They never have maybe run, even though they've trained, maybe they run a half marathon, maybe they've run 20 miles. They've never gone this far. all the support, helps them through. It is a long, difficult, tough race, and that what is a high conflict divorce. So get your friends, get your family members, get your therapist, get your dog. Don't discount that support system. All right. In closing, remember this podcast is for informational purposes only. Please consult with your attorney before acting on the information contained in this podcast. Until next time, be creative, not reactive.